Good evening, and many thanks for joining us once again on another fresh edition of your favorite program, the Hilltop Mansion. As you may already know, my name is Kelvin Samuel, and it is my duty to bring you up to date of events and happenings from the Akwa Ibom State Government House under the Arise Agenda administration of His Excellency Pastor Umar Basi Eno. And in today's edition, we are going to begin with the unveiling of the Arise luxury estate located at the Wade Housing Estate along Oran Street, which the governor says is to be completed within the next 8 months.
With luxury estate on completion, according to the Commissioner for Housing, Raphael Bassi, will feature 32 5-bedroom detached housing units, boys' quarters, recreational facilities for children and adults, among other features.
Gymnasium, common area parking, securities to get house, engineering facilities and facilities offices including safe yard, generators, water treatment plants, tank store, and pump stations.
This is not a social investment. It's going to be a profitable investment. His Excellency has insisted that the cash flow must be right. And I'm here to affirm that this project from day one would deliver positive cash flow. Return on investment is estimated at 38%. Profit on the project is estimated at 28%. We have different scenarios for the pricing to meet the needs of our potential customers.
Performing the foundation laying, Governor North says the project is more of business as it has units available for sale. He encouraged prospective buyers to make haste while the sun shines.
So while we are taking care of the rural community, we'll take care of the middle class. We also make provision for the upper class. It's a government that should take care of everybody, but particularly, it's not a free accommodation. And that's why I got the MD of Akikop to speak. This is a business venture. Already some of our people in the diaspora, when they heard of this project, have started asking how much. Because a lot of them have problems building back at home. They give money to their families. The families will be sending them fake pictures only to come back and see that nothing was done. So this project will take care of them.
The estate is expected to be completed within 8 months.
His Excellency thereafter also inspected the site for a bomb industrial park, where he assured that work is to commence anytime soon.
Established by the administration of Victor Wata, Ibom Industrial Park is one of the very first places visited by Governor Mo Eno on assumption of office. This is because of the critical role the park is expected to play in the actualization of the Arise agenda. The governor made a return visit, but this time to set modalities in motion for the commencement of work at the site.
I will hold FGPC on Monday and try to approve work to start here. I believe that there's need to keep interpreting our Arise agenda, the vision. And one of it was to work on this industrial park, get it facilitated, get power here, get water here. Once we do that, we can concentrate development in one area.
On completion, the park is expected to provide enabling business environment for young entrepreneurs who will be involved in the manufacturing of different made in Akwa Ibom products.
The governor also bared his mind on the recent ruling of the Supreme Court of Nigeria on the issues concerning local government financial autonomy on his arrival from an official trip.
Responding to Government House correspondent on arrival at the Victor Wata International Airport, Governor North says the ruling of the Supreme Court of Nigeria on local government financial autonomy didn't come to him as a surprise, as he has never tampered with the local government funds since his assumption of office.
It's a welcome development because I know how much we as a state support the local government. Our Rise agenda is also centered around developing our local government areas. So with this now, I feel relieved.
He further notes that there is, however, need for sensitization and harmonization between the state and local government areas that will ensure clear understanding of their scope of responsibilities to avoid negative impacts on local government workers.
But I'm concerned about how workers will get paid on time, how the allowances will be paid, how we will not leave backlogs, so that incoming administration will now have to bear the brunt. That is just my only concern. But as for them having their money, they've always had their money.
The governor also made a stop at the ongoing reclamation project at Ewet Ofo.
All right, sir, you're welcome to join us.
Well, thank you so much. I think it's been a while. I've been on NTA, so it feels a bit nostalgic to be here. So thank you for the opportunity to speak about tourism in Akwa Ibom.
All right, sir, let's begin with
I can spend a whole day talking about them because Akwa Ibom is blessed historically. And then, of course, through the efforts of government, previous governments, successive governments, Akwa Ibom is blessed to be one of those locations where people are queuing up to want to come to. Let me start with the one that the making of Nigeria itself. Even though a lot of people will argue and say, no, it took place in the place called Zungeru, and I say no. The amalgamation of Nigeria took place in Ikorobasi, in Akwa Ibom State. And the relics are there, the amalgamation house is there, the relics of the building, they're all there. The megaphone and all the desk Lugard used at that time was still there. Where Lugard lived is still there. And so, by inference, you realize that the fact that the amalgamation took place in Nigeria, in Ikorobasi, in Akwa Ibom State, of course, is a Lugard resident. That means that at that time, Lady Flora Shaw, the woman who conceptualized the name Nigeria, she also lived with her husband at that time in Ikorobasi. So I always tell people that, look, the history and story of the Nigerian nation should not and cannot be complete if you don't talk about Akwa Ibom and Ikorobasi, because that's where it started from. Yes, a lot of people will argue and say, oh, some historians and all that. And I said, look, history was written by somebody who wasn't there. Okay, and so I'm here talking about fact. I'm basing my argument on fact. If you're saying he was in Zungeru, so show me the artifacts in Zungeru to show. I have the artifacts. And then finally, at that time when Lugard came, there were no aeroplanes, there were no airports, and so they came by sea.
Yes.
And so, how did they get to Zungeru? At what point did they get to Zungeru? And so those are all indicators that we have pieced together to say, look, we believe and know, like history has told us, some segment of history has told us that it took place in Akwa Ibom. Beyond that, Akwa Ibom was also in the olden days, in the slave trade era, colonial era, one of the major slave trade routes on the west coast of Africa. So Ikorobasi was a major one, because we are riverine, so the relics are there in Ikorobasi, the bridge of no return, the slave bunker, and all the slave chambers where that hideous act of slavery took place. The relics are also there. And even where we are seated, the Ibom Hotel and Golf Resort, if you go to the Marina Beach, there is the old slave master boat that was recovered from the riverbed when this hotel was built. It's there at that riverbank relics to show that, look, they were here. It was the last of the relics from the slavery days. And then, of course, the restaurant of this hotel at the Marina Beach is the old slave master's house where the slave master lived. So all those are things you piece together to drive a narrative of Akwa Ibom being that preferred destination. Then,
Did warn from the beginning that if we go listing all of this, we may not end it today. Let's look at how government is, preparing to be tapping, into some of these available, sites and resources.
Well, the preparation is very obvious. From day one, His Excellency, the Governor, Pastor Mono, came on the saddle. Of course, one of the immediate things he did was to order the Ministry of Culture and Tourism to go on a tour of all tourist and heritage sites in Akwa Ibom State. Not just the ministry, he involved all tourism stakeholders in the state. We went on that tour that lasted almost a week. We went every nook and cranny of the state to assess the state of those tourist sites and then begin to map out plans on how to activate, restore the ones that needs to be restored. Of course, build new ones where new ones need to be built. And so right now, efforts are ongoing. Like I talked about the slave boats at the Marina Beach, restoration and preservation works are ongoing. If you come back to the city center, Brook Street, the erosion center, center at the Brook Street that had become a recreational center is now being converted to a proper tourist center. Now that is being linked with another erosion, two other erosion sites, one in Etimomana, one in Anua, and then of course all converging. Now instead of having that as a ravine, an erosion site rescued, now His Excellency has conceptualized to build a tourist site in that location, complete with a 9-hole golf course with chalets, and then of course a restaurant, unique restaurant that's going to be in the middle of an artificial lake. So you're going to have a bridge taking you to that restaurant in the middle of the artificial lake with football field, with floodlight, lawn tennis court, to also ensure that when people come for meeting, conferences and exhibitions in Akwa Ibom State, they have more than enough facilities to recreate. You also heard Governor talking about, my boss, the Governor, talking about the resuscitation works on Tropicana Hotel, us jump-starting Tropicana Hotel and getting it back on stream. And so that's also ongoing. And then of course you also hear that we are in advanced talks with the biggest beach developer in Nigeria, Landmark, to come to Akwa Ibom. The talks are ongoing, and so we trust that with all this, we are positioning Akwa Ibom not just to be touted as the #1 destination, but of course the one that everywhere in the world, everybody in the world will want to come to. And then of course, above all, take away Lagos and Abuja. I'm not sure that there's any other state capital in Nigeria that is as accessible as Akwa Ibom, because we own an airline, and not just an ordinary airline, probably the best airline in Nigeria, Ibom Air. Just a few weeks ago, His Excellency led a team to France for the final inspection to take delivery of the second of the 10 Airbuses that Ibom Air had ordered. Ibom Air is wholly owned by Akwa state government, but run like a proper business entity. The state government had ordered 10 brand new Airbuses to complement its existing fleet. We are taking delivery of one. The second one is almost due for delivery. And so all those put together are strategies that we are continuously putting on the drawing board to ensure that we not only gain stranglehold of that position, that top slot as a #1 destination, but of course we continue to grow and improve. Look at the next of Champion Stadium. For you to appreciate what the government of Akwa Ibom State has done over the years, and the current government, including the current governor, you need to look at the National Stadium in Abuja. You need to look at the National Stadium in Lagos. Those two facilities are in a state of disrepair. And so that tells you that, look, for a state, a subnational, to have the mind, the courage to invest so much resources, humongous resources, I must say, to ensure that that sporting facility is continuously maintained to be at its best. It's kudos to government of Akwa Ibom State and the people of Akwa Ibom.
Okay, sir, given what is on ground in the state and the plan of the present administration of Pastor Umobasi Eno, where do you see Akwa Ibom State in the next couple of years as far as tourism is concerned?
Well, our dream is clear. We're not making any pretense about that. We want to be #1, not just in Nigeria, but #1 in West Africa for starters. then we can begin to compete with Africa. Because we have what it takes. We have an airport. And then within the confines of that airport, it's not just an airport that we have. We're building a new airport terminal that will process at least 1 million passengers a year. That's the capacity. And then within that, the premises of that airport, we have the maintenance, repair, and overhaul facilities. There are only 2 in Africa. There's one in South Africa. There's one in Addis Ababa. Okay, and then the one in Uyo will be the 3rd, which means that airlines within this region will come here for their maintenance and repair and overhaul when necessary. And that means that, that axis, there's huge potential. That means that if you set up a hotel there, you can thrive. If you set up business around there, that will become an aviation hub, which means that there must be short-let hotels for people to come, pilots, engineers who come to service the aircraft to sleep. They can't drive all the way into town. Now, so those are opportunities that we are creating. Go back down to Ibadan. Our romance with Landmark. We are looking at starters, over 2,000 employees will be absorbed on that project. And then to imagine by the time the project is fully off the ground, a lot more people will get employed. And then, of course, well, not just the employment, the geography, everything about Ibadan will change. And then you gravitate into Akwa Ibom, because with that development coming in there, the woman who has a restaurant in Ibadan will have more mouths to feed. So she can improve her business and more. The guy who sells a beer parlor will have more drinkers, so he can improve. And then, of course, get franchise from brewers and all that. And then, of course, not just that. Part of the deal we're trying to structure is that currently in Africa, understand cruise ships. Cruise ships, there's no cruise ship circuit in this part of Africa. Okay, and so we are trying to structure a deal. In Gambia, they have secured the first point where a cruise ship can land in Africa. Cruise ship means that at any point in time a cruise ship lands, you are having at least 5,000 foreigners coming with forex to inject into your economy. And so we are saying, look, once we can structure the deal with Landmark successfully, it means that Ibadan becomes the next cruise ship port. And so the cruise ship, when they come here, so imagine 5,000 foreigners landing in Ibadan with foreign exchange, transaction in foreign exchange. That would jumpstart the economy. Of course, we have an injection of forex into an economy, and that will help the locals, and then, of course, the entire state. And then people from other states are going to come. We're going to have pressures to have hotels to accommodate them. We're going to have pressures to build more roads. We're going to have pressures to provide more transportation facilities. We're going to have pressures to provide more security and better security. But of course, the benefit is that we're going to have more income.
Okay, now, it is one thing for government to have this whole beautiful plan and investment on ground, and another thing for the people to maximize those opportunities. So my question is, what would be your advice to the youth, especially in preparations?
Fantastic. In the last 4 weeks, if you've been very attentive on the social media, we launched a deliberate destination branding campaign, tagged Discover Akwa Ibom. And what we're trying to do there is, number one, we want to showcase every week we pick one tourist site and showcase that tourist site. Where it is, what it's about, tell the story around it, to let people know that when you come to Akwa Ibom, these are some of the places to visit. And then, second leg of that campaign is tourism awareness, creation, and education. We understand that, a lot of people say tourism. I've heard somebody ask me, as Commissioner for Tourism, I'm sure you should have visited all the nightclubs in Uyo by now. I said, sorry, tourism is not nightclubbing. Nightclub is private business. Okay? My business with nightclub eventually will be that once I start grading, I'm building a website, Discover Akwa Ibom website, that will metamorphose into a tourism app. Once I'm done with that website, I'm going to need to populate that website. So I'm going to need to begin to grade those the nightclubs, those hotels. I'm going to begin hotel grading. Okay, because for me to list a hotel on that website, which is a stamp of government, I must visit that hotel. I must see what the facilities you have. And then periodically, must have an arrangement that periodically we go check out what they do to be sure that the standard is maintained. Because the moment we put you on that state website, we put the stamp of government on you. You understand? So now we want people to understand that the scope of tourism is not narrow just to entertainment and recreation. There is religious tourism. There is educational tourism. Our Nest of Champions, or the Gods to the Private International Stadium, also gives us an opportunity for sports tourism. So we are embarking on this educational series to create that awareness for people to know. And so you know that when you are coming, you need to look at, oh, today, my business, I'm a medical doctor. What something should tell you that the moment Landmark lands in Ibadan, okay, there will be need for medical facility. You can set up a small clinic there, okay, knowing that tourists will come. Some of them will come, get bitten by a mosquito. They may have malaria. They will need to treat. You can't run them. So that's an opportunity for the medical doctor. You also look at and say, look, the guy who sells coconut at that place, he can begin to say, look, why don't I fine-tune this, my coconut, clean it up, bottle the water, then the fiber, find a way of preserving it, so that these tourists that land can take back them into their ship. As they are going back to Europe, they can be enjoying that on their way. Now, those are business opportunities that a lot of people don't know, which we want to deliberately bring to their doorstep, so they know and become aware and begin to prepare. Because see, if we can make Akwa Ibom that destination, it means that your programs would be richer. It means that the outreach of your program, the reach of your program, the audience will be wider and richer. And then secondly, you are going to begin to earn more advertising revenue because more people will want to come to do business. Okay, and then if those that don't come from outside, those within will want to do businesses within, of course, ensure that, look, I can promote my business because tourists are coming.
Yes.
So I sell Boli at Yekpa. Okay, I want to promote that thing. Booked a hotel in Akwa Ibom in December. By October, it might be too late.
Okay.
We are also telling the world that if you haven't booked a ticket to come to Akwa Ibom in December, Ibom Air ticket, it might be too late. So you need to begin to book, make your plans now. And so that's why we're throwing out those teasers.
All right, sir. Well, of course, from what I have seen, if we should go on and on and on, there are a lot more to be talked about from this sector. But on the final note, what would you say to the Akwa Ibom people from the office of the Commissioner for Culture and Tourism?
Well, I'd like to say to Akwa Ibomers that, look, brace up for another December to remember, come December, with Christmas Unplugged 2.0, and then Christmas Carol Festival Season 17. It's going to be bigger and better. The world is going to come to Akwa Ibom. People are queuing up already. And so if you're a businessman, begin to think of what businesses you can put on the table to harness these opportunities. If you are an entrepreneur, you need to begin to think of what to do to maximize this opportunity, because it's going to be huge, bigger, and better. People are queuing up from outside the shores of Akwa Ibom to take advantage. You must join. You must be ready, because this is where we're going to. Akwa Ibom, led by His Excellency Pastor Moeno, says we must arise, and we are rising.
All right, thank you so very much, the Honorable Commissioner, Culture and Tourism, for being a part of the program for today. We do hope that from time to time we'll be coming around again to get more tips from what is going on by the government, led by Governor Pastor Umar Basi Eno. Thank you so much for being a part of the program, sir.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
All right, we will take a short break here. On our return, we'll continue. Don't go away.
Don't miss out on any events or activities of the governor, First Lady, or the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State. Worry no more. Hilltop Mansion got you covered. Hilltop Mansion is a program of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, UYO, specifically designed to showcase the day-to-day activities of the Arise agenda.
Tune in every Monday at 7:30 p.m.
on Star Times, Channel 103. Social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube to join us. Hilltop Mansion, showcasing the Arise agenda.
Be reminded that the S in the Arise agenda stands for security management, and to that end, the governor has recently donated 20 Hilux vehicles to security agencies across the state, and that is added to the newly created Ministry of Internal Security and Waterways, all in the bid to ensure adequate security across the state. Well, those are the much we're able to gather on this week's edition of your favorite program, the Hilltop Mansion. I remain Kelvin Samuel, hoping that you join us again, same time, same station, but next week for another fresh edition. Do have a pleasant evening.
Aqua